Utah, we have LaunchUp.
What's the revenue model? How do you make money?
There's a few different ways of doing that. First, there's just like the hosted thing. So like somebody wants to run a class online, they just go to a website. This isn't quite ready to launch. It's a few months away. But they'll go up, sign up, typical SaaS model, and they'll get an instance of Eduglu, however many they need, and run courses on it. And they can charge for it and do whatever else they want with it. And so yeah, and then there's like custom builds. So like say some university wants, all these crazy stuff done to it, then we'll charge, normal rates for that. And then I figure consulting will be a good revenue model as well at some point. So.
So this is advice about doing presentations, because if you're going to get investment, you're going to probably do more of them. The way you've done this up to now, I know something about your solution, but I don't think you've set up the problem well enough to make it compelling. Like, what is the problem you're solving? Why does this problem need to be solved? Establish that.
Okay. Thanks.
Are you tapping into existing social network structures? Like, are my friends going to automatically be connected to me on Eduglu?
That's a feature that's coming soon. To this point, it hasn't mattered as much because it's mostly just been like for individual classes. So, but that sort of functionality is on the roadmap to be added.
You thought about tapping into the nonprofit communities as the source of funding for this?
Like what, for example?
Like, for example, you have all the folks who are doing like microloans and whatnot. In your opening pitch, you talked about the need in third world countries for education and growing that way. If really the need, you're talking to a bunch of guys in Utah who've probably been to, well, Utah and BYU or whatnot. If the need is offshore and in other third world countries, there's certainly a lot of interest, I know, from the philanthropic communities to do something like this, especially if education is a priority within their mission statements.
That actually is a really good point. I've talked to a few people in that area, but it isn't something I've pursued that much. If you have like specific people, organizations in mind, I'd be really interested in hearing about those afterwards.
Hey Kyle, along those lines, have you considered, you mentioned the overseas thing, have you considered doing something with a company like Kiva that they're currently providing financial assistance to overseas entrepreneurs, tying that in and using it as an educational platform for those same people, instead of just giving them money, also provide them with a place to gain that education?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Again, it's not something I've pursued yet, but something definitely I'll keep in mind.
Another idea that comes to mind is utilizing some of the media as far as videos and audio and that type of thing. Have you considered doing that? And that may even include using some free services like YouTube channels, Flickr, things like that. Is that something that you've considered as the future of education?
That's definitely part of it. I mean, a big disruption in education right now is just that it's so much cheaper to create content, distribute it, versus 15 years ago when you had to like put on videotape and ship it around and stuff. You can just stick it on YouTube now and everyone in the world can watch it pretty much. And so Eduglu is built on Drupal and actually has really good tools for embedding videos and so forth in that. So I haven't built tools specifically for it, but it works pretty well just out of the box for that already. And given different clients' needs, I can definitely improve that down the road. Yeah.
Kyle, who do you consider your competition?
The biggest competition, right now, there's a lot of established kind of learning education software vendors. There's a variety of free tools online, like Ning, WordPress, and other things that people just kind of throw together and use, and so forth. Those are, I'd say, the biggest competitors right now.
So if you get the help that you're asking for, could you give us a succinct vision of where you're going? Like in a year, what does Eduglu look like? Or where is it and how's it being used and integrated and things?
I guess kind of my grand vision is that, that's a good way to put this, is this would be kind of, it's an open source product, and I did that specifically because I think, like right now, the education technology market is really splintered and fragmented, and people just kind of concentrate on their little niches. And what I'd really like is that Eduglu would be kind of the platform for education, and that, you know, at a school you could have an Eduglu instance with hundreds of different groups, and all the students could communicate and talk to each other. Like, schooling is very siloed right now. And so if you're like the information systems major, you don't ever talk to computer science people, even though there's a lot of crossover. You don't ever talk to geography people, even though you might have fascinating conversations. So I really like Eduglu to be kind of a standard social, like hook into all the different social standards on the web, so that across universities, across the university, people can talk, and then different instances of Eduglu, you know, across all these different universities, can talk to each other. So if you're a physics student at, you know, Yale, and you're physics students at U of U, you can like talk to each other and share ideas and ask questions and so forth. So I'm really looking at making like Eduglu something that a lot of people build on and kind of make their own and so forth.
So I guess two questions. I'm kind of getting confused here, as it seems like you're more of a social networking platform. So then why not have Facebook then?
Why not? Sorry, what?
Well, we've got tons and tons of social media, networks out there now, like Facebook, so I can go find other people. And then my second question is folks like the University of Phoenix have spent billions of dollars developing, content delivery platforms and online classroom delivery platforms. Why would they use you?
Well, I certainly hope they do use me eventually, actually, because, well, the first question, Facebook. Facebook is optimized for one thing, and that isn't really learning. So just without getting into details, it's not a very good social learning platform. Second question is basically, what was your second question again? Just why isn't people use? I think just because I'm offering something that doesn't really exist quite yet, it's like a complete package that does all this. I mean, I can't really speak particulars what University of Phoenix does, but a lot of teachers online are asking for this sort of thing. A lot of people I've talked to says what I'm doing doesn't exist and they want it. So I don't really think University of Phoenix has invested in this or has a tool that does what I do. So, are we done? Okay.
Thanks, Kyle.